It doesn't matter. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. Hey, Clyde,
Sure.
are there things you're trying to improve on this time of year as opposed to just generally getting better? I mean, are there specific things you're maybe working on this offseason?
Well, this is a pass camp, so mainly running routes and catching passes. Something that I try to pride myself on throughout the offseason because there's only so much running you can do. You can't go running between the tackles in the offseason. So you're going to do so much training as far as that. But everybody knows our offense. They know who our quarterback is. They know who we are as an identity. So catching passes and running routes has been my thing.
Clyde, it's interesting you said that. Everybody knows the offense. So many changes on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of teams bolstered their defenses to take on this offense.
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to surprise a few people with some of the new people and what they can do that might be different than what was done last year?
Everybody brings something different to the table, and that's the great thing about this offense is you can stick anybody anywhere, and as long as we know what we're doing and executing, it can be unmatched depending on as far as our matchups. I can line up from in 1, 2, 3 spot, 4. And run any route as far as the route tree. Trav can do the same thing from MVS to Juju to McCole. So it just shows you that we can be as versatile as we want, and now everybody just has to play our matchup, and it's not the same thing that they've been seeing the last 6 years.
But you view this as a pretty important year for you now, third year here?
Most definitely, but I mean I wouldn't just pinpoint it as year 3. I was looking at it the same way. First year I got drafted, everybody was like, oh, this. Second year, dealt with some injuries, and now, it's year 3. So it's like, everybody's like, that. But it's always a sense of urgency for me. So that's just what it is.
So no different than the first 2 then?
As far as preparation
that
or?
Sense of urgency that you just mentioned, you said you
I don't know. Being able to do the things that I did, starting running back as a rookie playing a Super Bowl, and then really just battling injuries through last year, I feel like I bring the intensity and as far as being a professional from the offseason and coming into the season, I do everything I need to.
What's the connection with Ronald Jones like for you? I mean, just so far as you guys are just trying to get assimilated in there.
As far as like just being around, I mean, he was somebody that I've talked to beforehand. I mean, Leonard was in his room, and then Darn was also in Tampa, so it wasn't just like, oh, this is some random dude coming in. We had conversations with each other, been on FaceTime with each other. I'm close friends with Leonard, and everybody knows Leonard's a clown. So it's like we kind of talk and do those things. But it was like a running back kind of like mingle thing. Like we don't sit here and like, oh man, that dude plays for this team, I'm not gonna talk to him. Like we all people, so it's just one of those things. I talk to him like any normal person, and when he came in, it was just this is what it is. Talk to you as a person. You have a question, I have a question. We learn from each other, and we go out here and try to improve. That's about it.
The running back room looks a little different now, right? You talked about last year leaning on Daryl a lot.
Yep.
Who is it you go to now for any advice you need in that room?
It's man, I can go to anybody, and I remember it's funny that you say that because I remember telling G. Lou, it's like, man, I could have a baby in here teaching me, but if they telling me something that I don't know, it's something that I can learn from. So I can care less who's actually teaching me. I mean, he might, Pac or Ely or Fleet might see something that I didn't see. And that's just what it is. You can train anything, what you want to do, but one thing you can't train in this profession is eyes. And that's the things that separates everybody apart.
I just been out there about your gallbladder surgery and not really having a full training regimen. Now that you've been able to do that, how do you feel already that maybe has made an impact on what you can do this year? I
feel great. Just being able to it's a lot of things with it. Food intake, everything. I was, weight was fluctuating and everything else. And it was something that I didn't need to spew out to the media, but it was something that I was able to conquer every week. And it was, everybody, you say whatever, but I mean, I got 4 incisions in my stomach, and then I was able to go out here and do fall camp without a hiccup. So it's just one of those things that mentally, man, if you tell yourself you can do it, you do it. But I mean, I wasn't necessarily thinking about it. I know this is my job. A gallbladder surgery, stomach surgery, whatever it is, wasn't going to stop me from going out there playing ball.
This is the best you've felt since coming out?
Yeah, most definitely. I would say I had the gallbladder surgery after the Super Bowl. So I would say pretty much since pretty much after that point, best I felt.
You guys won the Super Bowl against.
I wasn't here when we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay.
Clyde, you mentioned MVS. Just what's your first impression?
Speed, fast, nice hands, taller than me, obviously. But man, I like MVS as even when we were in Texas doing our phase 1 routes and everything. I mean, just the way he explains things, and you can see his years in the league. He's so wise as far as coverages and man coverage and zones and everything. He's able to communicate with Pat, and they're able to like get through those certain things of communication that I wouldn't necessarily say I'm not used to doing, because that's what we do here. We communicate, but just seeing that firsthand from somebody who comes from Green, but like it wasn't even, I would say, a month before he was already dialed into the playbook and understanding what was going on. So great guy, absolutely love him. We text and talk about cars and everything else, because that's obviously one of my passions, but now one of his too. So it's just one of those things. We're able to connect, not just on football, but being able to be friends and everything outside of football is what brings us so close.
You talk about those workouts down in Texas. What were the benefits of those to you?
Timing, and I would say like it wasn't like O linemen were there, but as far as getting the timing down with Pat, and then I mean, like you guys say every week, it's a whole new offense. Everybody's different than everybody else. So I mean, I was able to meet people. Like that's really what you want to do. You don't want to just go out here and be my first time, meeting a guy, and we all got our, pads and helmets on and everything else, and it's nothing. It's like connecting. If anybody can just know me or know the next person, personality-wise, we realize we go out there, we just having fun. And if you're able to kind of get over that hump during the off season, which we did probably the first 2 or 3 days, as just breaking the ice and getting to know each other, the next easiest thing is just learning the playbook and being able to communicate about it. So that's what we did.
Being the lead back, what's your initial reaction when the Chiefs do take a running back in the 7th, and then how soon do you reach out and kind of help him get acclimated?
Immediately. I mean, that was same thing that happened to me, man. It's the NFL. It's the world we live in. Every year is going to be somebody getting drafted, your position or another position, or just what it is. I mean, me in college, I'm thinking like, okay, when is going to be my turn to get drafted, and when I get a chance to be on that field. I mean, it's 32 teams. You're not expanding anything. Like, it's what it is, bro. That next person learns. That person, who's a starter gets older, and it's a time clock that'll never keep going. So at some point, all y'all will be out of here too.
Should we end on that last two? Stay on the top.
Clyde, Still was injured late in your rookie year as well. And obviously you mentioned the stomach stuff. I guess that was going on most of that year. And then last year you get hurt in week 5. Has it been kind of frustrating that you haven't been able to gather momentum because of things that might be a little bit out of your control?
Yeah, and I would mainly say it was really just the timing of it. I mean, you probably could see pinpoint games where, he getting ahead of steam and he about to start rolling, and it's just kind of just like, well, he dealt with that injury, and it's just one of those things. And like, even with just having those injuries late at the end of my rookie year, I did something to my hip and my ankle that I thought I wasn't even gonna play year 2, and I was able to get back out there year 1. So it's and playing the Super Bowl. So it was just, I never really was injured in college. So it's just one of those things. I was hurt, but I was able to kind of, I wouldn't say immediately get back from it, but something that they think that I was going to be out for at least going into the middle of year 2, and I was able to get back within a month. I'll say that speaks not only everybody as far as helping me in the training room at KC, but just the things that I was doing at home and being able to come here and get the work done and be a professional about everything. It's not just about me, it's about those guys on the field. So that's why I'm out here, that's why I'm here, that's why they wanted me here, and I'm here to win. That's it.
Last one, Todd.
I know you said you can, you learn from anybody in the room, but is there value in having a guy like Ronald Jones who's a veteran? I mean, this is one of the first years you really had a guy who's established in the league along with you to kind of bounce ideas off of and kind of roll.
Established as far as how many years? I mean, last year I had Jet McKinnon, who got drafted in 13 and dealt with injuries here, there. So it was, and I had years that he was, absolutely rolling. So I mean, I wouldn't just pinpoint it as that one guy. I was able to learn from multiple guys, and not just my position. And that's the thing about, you don't have to pinpoint just one position or just stay in. Like I go ex Travis about stuff. I ex Pat, I ex O lineman, because I mean, you never really know. Everybody deals with injuries, and everybody's body's pretty much the same. So I'm not going to, talk to this person and this person if they never dealt with it. I try to get as many resources as possible. And like I said, Jet was one of those guys. Jet got drafted in 13 or 14, I want to say, and I was like in the 8th grade. So it's like, but it's like over time, like, I mean, he's still playing, and he was able to play at a high level. So it's like those, you sit there and you look at that and you watch that and you're like, okay, how can I at some point get in that category, or can I be in that playing at that same level when I'm that age or been in the league that many years? So you ask him those questions, and then it's eating habits and body and just pretty much being a professional. So, you know, like I say, I can learn from anybody, but as far as within those last years, like I learned from Dirty, I learned from those guys in the room, but Jet was a big part of that last year too.